You're glimpsing this message exactly when a turning point starts to unfold. In ways you may never consciously register, your environment is shifting beneath the surface. Minor shifts in thinking, small reroutes in your habits, odd sparks of insight. They don't just ripple by accident. Each one quietly stacks into a larger sequence. And if you landed on this page, it's a trace that you're right at the heart of it. Change is underway. Once you truly detect it, everything familiar loses its grip. Ever get the sense your daily story is just reruns with reworked details? The morning routine stays mostly unchanged. Heated discussions recycle. Behaviors you hoped to drop resurface. And you collapse into bed as though you've rehearsed this role for ages. You aren't imagining it. That is the silent design of repetition. Like code running a loop, drawing you back to familiar choices again and again. Stuck patterns materialize in procrastination cycles, goals sidelined by hesitation, relationships spinning back to old endings. The actors may be fresh, but the finale never surprises. Most get trapped in these invisible loops without ever realizing it, at least until the stagnation builds up enough anxiety that they admit, "I'm circling and not progressing." The tough part is how convincing the outer changes seem. You switch teams at work. You date someone new. You sign up for a program ready to break old habits. Months later, the setting shifts, but the mood is hauntingly similar. It's like swapping carpets without moving the clutter. Picture someone wrestling with career dissatisfaction. They transfer from agency to agency, expecting the latest workspace to heal their frustrations. Yet they repeatedly fall into the same emotional rut. Tense meetings, empty tasks. The grind feels hollow. The setting rotates. The outcome remains. The link? Their framework of beliefs never evolves at the foundation. Progress feels natural. So does mistaking novelty for true change. It's like streaming a new podcast episode, then hearing the same embarrassing story told again, and realizing you already lived this broadcast. Predicting thoughts before they surface, questioning why you missed the redundancy. Life's scripts fool us with mixed props. The context refreshes, but the plotline repeats. The real letdown arrives when the familiarity of defeat returns. Still, here's the reality. Your mind isn't sabotaging you. It's performing its assigned protocols. Studies reveal that pattern loops are hardwired in memory and reward systems. Whenever you react identically, retreating in self-doubt, mindlessly swiping screens, sinking into silence when action is needed, you wire new express lanes in your neural network. The more you repeat the path, the smoother it feels to default there. Transformation isn't out of reach. It's simply strenuous, because your mind prizes energy preservation and routine cuts labor costs. There's a crucial inflection point, though. The second you spot the pattern, pausing for reflection, that, "Hold on, hasn't this played out before?" moment is profound, not trivial. It cracks the repetition just enough to let novelty through. Here's the paradox. Loops aren't clear failures. What if every stuck moment is less a punishment and more an alert? Think of each repeat as an indicator flashing. This cycle's run its course. Loops become notifications, messages from your internal guidance system that the structure requires revision. When the loop is decoded as a clue, not a curse, the feeling of being boxed in morphs into a sense of orientation. That softening signals a new direction. Realizing the loop is only stage one. The true leap isn't there. It starts as you notice subtle markers of congruence quietly threading through daily life, hinting that the legacy patterns are short-circuiting and fresh configurations are forming. Ever wake one day to a new sense of vigor, or hear from someone who's faded into your memory? These aren't always bold revelations. Sometimes they whisper in, subtle indicators that inward change is echoing outside. That's the dawn of attunement. It's not life overhauled in dramatic fashion. It's tiny recalibrations in perception, micro adjustments that show your internal matrix aligning. You might miss it at first. There's no confetti, just resistance gradually melting. Efforts to progress become less draining. Small windows start sliding open all by themselves. This is the signature of genuine alignment. Yet this signal is easily ignored. Culture favors grand milestones, so when a marginally improved morning or a synchronistic encounter drops in, many dismiss it as randomness. But these signals are tightly knitted to who you're morphing into. The rush to chase big transformations often blinds us to subtle, deep shifts unfolding. Picture someone limiting their evening content scrolling. Simple, insignificant, right? But a week in, sleep deepens, mornings lighten, creativity resurfaces. A small break triggers dormant capacities, awakening old strengths. Suddenly, new opportunities spark through, all from one shift. The mechanics resemble a clock. For years, you crank the handle, gears slip. Then, without warning, those cogs engage. The same motion, new momentum. Outward changes look negligible. Internally, a revolution is underway. This is corroborated. Minor habits compound, triggering ripple effects in relationships, mindset, routines. Refusing the snooze button tweaks, eating, thinking, kindness. It isn't a trick, it's domino logic. Internal realignment naturally reshapes output. Consider organizing a cluttered workspace. Mundane. But the day flows sharper. Priorities clarify. The whole morning gets more manageable just because the mess is gone. Small adjustments free up disproportionate potential. Once the pattern is established, the transition grows undeniable. At this moment, a quick word. If these realizations resonate, and you wish these insights to keep growing, Supporting this dialogue with a subscription is the most meaningful way to ensure its reach. It's not about numbers, but signaling to the platform that a real connection is happening. So, if the subtle signals already hold impact, what happens when the alignment deepens and builds a new baseline for your daily navigation? Because attunement rarely whispers forever, it eventually reconstructs your core identity, retooling your entire way of interacting with reality. Consider that maybe the goal was never perfect control, but conscious sculpting of the background that generates events. Most spend years scrambling to mend situations, quelling crises, preventing loss, forcing outcomes, sprinting endlessly. Often the grind feels futile, unpredictable, overwhelming. Others glide as if the universe is collaborating with them. Layoffs become pivots to better positions. Letting go of draining allies opens up new friendships like fresh air. Are they merely fortunate or tuned into another principle? This defines the contrast between viewing yourself as a casualty of circumstances versus stepping up as a participant shaping variables. Seeing oneself as a bystander makes life seem random. Reaction becomes primary mode, firefighting strife that never recedes. In the creator's stance, the game shifts, not dictating every result, but optimizing beliefs, routines, and environments, the building blocks that arrange outcomes behind the scenes. Suddenly, fortune feels engineered. The oddest irony is how opportunity enters once people release old self-images. Say a chronically dissatisfied partner finally leaves a draining relationship. Clarity floods in, energy returns, and soon a new role aligns with latent talents. Outsiders tell stories of luck. Underneath, it's a system overhaul that made space for renewal. Brain science explains it too. The reticular activating system, RAS, filters reality, spotlighting signals that match priorities. Consider when you think of switching to a Ford, suddenly the city swarms with them. They were always present. You just recalibrated your lens. Internal upgrades reveal unseen resources and connections. The landscape didn't change. Your filters did. Empowerment doesn't stem from micromanaging results, but from designing the conditions behind the curtain. Adjust inputs, attention, habits, community, and outputs realign themselves. It's not about forcing success, but crafting the setup for effortless progression. When this clicks, the tone of life itself moves. You're not being swept up by randomness. Reality slides alongside your direction. The strain eases, and the ground subtly streamlines forward steps. Co-creation is never a guarantee for instant wins. It reorients the framework so life works as an ally, not an adversary. Positive outcomes stop feeling rare and start defining the rhythm. And here's a small exercise to echo that shift. If reaching this far sparked a new awareness in you, anchor it now. Drop a comment below. I'm ready for my cycle to change. Use this not just as a reaction, but as a marker. The moment you begin constructing your own system. Finding this guidance today and staying present through the words is a testament. You're not outside the process. Your code is rewriting itself even now. The turning point isn't waiting somewhere remote. It's already underway. And evidence threads through each tiny breakthrough. When the loop feels heavier, it's proof you've outgrown it. Old scripts can be retired. There is no running behind. You're chosen. You're aligned. Life is organizing itself to fit the person you're quietly becoming. Move forward with new intention. Trust the markers. Change isn't a future event. It's the active dimension of your experience. And above all, you're exactly equipped for this transition.